Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is A Woman's Prerogative. And in case you're wondering and thinking, oh, I thought that was on earlier in the week, you would be correct. We actually have two shows with people from different parts of the world talking about different subjects. So thank you for joining us again. You can join us on Mondays and on Thursdays, depending on where you are in the world, because the star of our show, MARISKA, she's actually on Friday in New Zealand. So we're excited to be able to bring people from across the world and share their feelings, their wisdom, their experience to empower women and give women everywhere a voice. MARISKA is an expert presenter on our Talking Heads platform. If you just tuned into this show, you just missed the show before, which was her Talking Heads show. She's going to talk a little bit more about that. She's also one of our elevated listeners, obviously a TV and radio show host, and she's a transformation and leadership coach. And she's also an accredited coach with the highest level of accreditation you can have in the accreditation process. She's close to master. She's ICF and PCC accredited. Let's welcome her to the show.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Wow, that is a mouthful.
It is amazing everything that you've accomplished, and I've been with you on part of your journey, and it's been exciting since 2019, I think.
Yes. It's, if I think about all the things that I saw you go through from, well, when we met up until this point, growing this wonderful platform, going from just a couple of people to now having literally a global community. It's incredible. It is incredible to see how much one person can accomplish in a couple of years. It's, yeah, it's heartwarming. I love being here with you and with the rest of the community. And I miss Jenetta and the rest of the team that, unfortunately, during my winter, your summer timing doesn't quite work out, but there's always the other half of the year. So I'm sure we will meet again.
We will be together again.
Yes.
So for those people who don't know, you and I met when we signed up to get our certification, my first and only certification as a life coach, and you've moved on from there. And we were put together for various role plays. We just hit it off, and you actually coached me to help me leave my corporate career that I'd spent 28 plus years in. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everything else is history. And in addition to what we're doing here, we're also co-writing children's books with Dr. Madeleine Chan, featuring elevated listeners from around the world. And it's such a rewarding journey. It is. And in addition, the power of listening courses are going to be taught by me and Dr. Chan to people who are in different parts of the world. So thank you for taking this journey with me, MARISKA.
Well, I am honored to be on this journey and meeting all the wonderful people here on USA Global TV and Radio. Guys, if you want to dip your toe into this type of space and you don't know how to go about it, please reach out to Dr. Jacalyn. She will guide you, help you, give you a space and a platform, It is really wonderful and a great way to learn and grow. And if you do not believe me, we do have video evidence of our very, very, very early shows still available. So if you want to see how not so good I used to be, you are more than welcome to dive into that and take the leap and come and join us here on USA Global TV. We love meeting new people.
We sure do. We have a lot of fun here, and thanks for that, Mariska.
Yes.
Today's topic is how I decide who I'm going to follow on social media. And you and I are kind of at different extremes because I'm always on social media, constantly posting. It's a huge part of my life. And you're not as active on social media for good reason. We're going to hear what those reasons are. And I certainly know a number of people who are not on social media at all. So let's start off with you. If you would describe to us, where are you on social media and how active are you on each of the platforms?
Ooh, okay, let's see. I have a LinkedIn account, which is most probably the one where I am the most active. So for me, it is a work-related and professional account. The amount of cat videos on LinkedIn is, in general, not very high. I did see a cat video on LinkedIn the other day, and it was linked to professional growth. So yes, they are there, and they do not only function as a funny little cat video. So I really enjoy that personally. So for me, it makes it a lot easier to follow people on LinkedIn, knowing that I will, in all likelihood, get really good content from that space. Then the other place where you can also find me is on Facebook. I'm not really active on Facebook. So typically Facebook for me is more of a keeping in touch with family and friends all over the world. And that mostly happens within the messenger function. So I very rarely go on Facebook. I think there's one group that I'm a part of that I pop into every now and again, but the rest of the time, honestly, I'm just not there. And then the other one is Instagram. Yes, I do have an Instagram account. Please don't go there because there's not a lot happening. If you do, well, then go there, but still, there's not a lot happening. I think I have 25 odd posts. And sometimes when I remember, I will post something new. It is not a huge thing that I typically do. And that is roundabouts the social media activity that is in my life in general. I know, it's abysmal. Everybody's like, what? Yeah, I enjoy physical life a little bit more. And this is something that you might find interesting. So the place where I typically really, really enjoy meeting people is training. So whenever I go to training and there is some form of interactiveness where I can meet other people and meet up for virtual coffees and do stuff like that, yeah, I love that. I personally love that. So if that means that I need to connect with you via some or other platform so that at least we can get a coffee date scheduled, great. But other than that, yeah, I'm not big on social media. What can I say? But I do know, Dr. Jacalyn, that for you, it is quite a different story. So do enlighten us as to what it is that you're doing.
Well, I think it's interesting what you shared about the various platforms. And for me, I spend most of my time on Facebook because I have the biggest following there. So it makes the most sense. However, in terms of analytics, I'm most interested in YouTube because YouTube gives us information that is really important to run a business and to grow the business. LinkedIn, if I'm looking for clients or if I'm looking for guests, I like to go to LinkedIn because there's so many people who are on there, and you don't even have to be connected to them. You can put something in the search engine if you're looking for someone. Like, for example, before I met Pet Psychic Amina, I put in psychic, and I went through all these people and her name came up. That was over 2 years ago. And we met through LinkedIn and then met on Zoom, and she's been a part of this platform, and she's expanded from just what she knows about being a pet psychic to the show is now called Coexistence and Sustainability. And we talk about humans and animals, all creatures coexisting together, and how can we sustain the planet. So it's been an evolution. So I think LinkedIn is a great place to connect with people for business. Now, it's interesting. Today I had a meeting with one of our team members, Mr. Sini, and he shared with me that for the clientele he's looking for, they have LinkedIn accounts, but they're not active on LinkedIn. So, for example, I know a number of business owners who have a LinkedIn account, but they're not doing anything with LinkedIn. They just have a headshot maybe, and they've got their contact information and what they do. Now, Instagram, we can't stream to Instagram because they don't allow you at this point in time to stream there. So I spend the least amount of time on Instagram, and I have the least number of followers on Instagram. So if we were able to stream there, that would be a different story, because I believe it's a whole different group of people there. And TikTok, for example, is a whole other world that I'm not putting any time in. Twitter, I'm not a big advocate of, although we do stream to Twitter. If I have a team member or a guest who's active on Twitter, I'll make sure that we're streaming there. I'm looking today and we're not streaming there. So that's how I pretty much decide. It's where do we have the most interest and where are we bringing the most value in terms of education and inspiration?
Yeah. And it's interesting, as you went through the different social media platforms, I was thinking, well, we also have a tendency for ourselves to show up in different places, so social media platforms, for different reasons. For instance, if I'm looking for great content because I want to learn something, I don't think of necessarily going to TikTok, right? Yes, there might be some educational videos on there. I'm not a avid TikToker in the sense of knowing how to navigate it. So that might be one of the things that I need to educate myself on. And I don't necessarily know whether that is the place to find the person that I'm looking for to do some education type of stuff. I would typically rather go to look at a YouTube video or look on LinkedIn. So maybe I might find something on YouTube, find something really interesting, and then go and look for that person on LinkedIn so that I can connect with them. So that's the process that I would normally use. And I am sure each and everybody listening to this has their own process they use and certain reasons why you are on the different platforms. And what I'm also wondering is, do you typically find it really tiring to be in so many places, Dr. Jacalyn? Because you show up in quite a few places. And I know I focus mainly on LinkedIn. So if I need to spread myself over so many places, I think I might be exhausted.
All really good points that you're making. Well, with Facebook, for example, not only do I have USA Global TV and Radio, which that following is building, but I didn't have that page for very long. So Jacalyn Kerbeck is where I have the primary audience because that's where I've had the account for the longest. And then I started Dr. Jacalyn when I got certified as a life coach. And that has the second biggest following. And then USA Global TV and Radio is relatively new. So we're building that out. And then I have private groups. So if I'm posting something, for example, someone joins our team as an elevated listener, I have to post their picture and their certificate on all 5 of the Facebook pages or groups. Then I have to go over to LinkedIn where I have Jacalyn Kerbeck, and then I also have USA Global TV. So I have to go twice over there. Then I have to go to Instagram. Then I have to go to Twitter, and then I have to put it on both of our websites. So one person coming on takes me probably 2 hours to do all that's required, but I do it gladly. So it's.
And it sounds like there's a lot more content going out into the world from your accounts than you consuming content into your space.
Exactly. So I have one more comment, and then I'll go to how do we decide who we're going to follow. So Facebook, apparently, I've been on there since 2006. I never even knew this was something, and I don't know when they started it. But for the last 2 weeks, I got a notification from them that I was in their top 1% the first week, and then the second week, the top 5% of all their content creators. And when I went to my platform, it has, I think it is digital content creator rising star. So it's not there today because they just took it off because I guess I didn't get it for the next week. But that really motivates me. And I'd love to understand what is it that was different for those 2 weeks than all the rest of the time. Because if we have now 37 shows going to 40, that's 37 posts just there. And that's not people reposting it or anything I put with fitness. So I'm not really sure because it's all an algorithm. So let's talk about how we decide who we're going to follow and where. So where are you personally as a human being, unrelated to work, unrelated to this? Where are you scrolling through in your free time?
Ooh, in my free time, it depends on what I'm looking for. So if it's funny cat videos, my husband's phone. There's loads of them there. And I don't typically know which platform that is on. So it's a little bit like a TV remote. If you ask me which channel to go to watch any set program, I can tell you which programs I watch, but I don't know which channels they are on because, well, I don't really worry about the remote. I tell my husband to do that. Nice and easy for me, and I don't need to keep it in my brain. As for social media and where I typically go and visit, I love going to YouTube because of the different types of content that we get there, and mostly it is for some form of educational something that I might be looking for. So YouTube would be my first go-to. And then I also have a tendency to, because I am interested on the whole LinkedIn thing, not only showing up on LinkedIn, but also seeing what other people have on LinkedIn. So going through that, there's great content on there. There is really great pieces and articles on there. So I really enjoy that as well. And yes, Instagram. I know it's a bit weird and funny, but on my personal Instagram account, other than posting from time to time, I have also subscribed to, there's 3 main sort of different things that I think about when I subscribe. So one is if it has anything sciencey related, and this might be natural sciences, it might be any of the sciences really. I'm not phased what science it is. If it is anything to do with science, I will most probably have some interest in looking at what the guys post there. And then drawing. So as a side, I really have enjoyed being creative and drawing since I was little. And I always find it fascinating to see all the different techniques people use, whether it is drawing with pencil or whether it is some other medium that they utilize. So there is quite a few accounts where I follow them to see different techniques that's being used within that space. Again, it's around the learning thing, I think, for me. I really enjoy learning new things. So that would be most of them. And then, of course, from time to time, as I said, the funny cat videos. But I usually look at those ones on my husband's phone, not my own. So no idea which platform he uses for that.
We won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, thanks for sharing that. It's interesting because I have a different perspective in some ways, which is people start following me on Instagram and I can get that notification, Susie Jones X123 is following. So I can actually click on Susie's profile and I can see what is it that Susie does. I look at Susie's pictures. Are they in alignment with what I'm doing? And if they are, then I'll follow back because I think that's mutually respectful. But if it has nothing to do and I see pictures and I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not judging, but it's not really me, then I'm not going to follow back. On Facebook, I don't see individual notifications that Susie is following me. I might see Susie, Billy, and Bobby are all following me all in one thread, and I typically won't click on that. So I don't really have a lot of insights to people who are following me as opposed to being my friends on Facebook, because Facebook has a limit of 5,000 friends. So once you hit 5,001, you either have to delete people. So if I get a new request, which I'm not on top of that either, because that's just not, I don't have that much time. If I get a new request, let's say someone's joining the team and they send a request, or they tell me, hey, I sent you a request and I want you to be my friend as opposed to follow. I'll go through all the 5,000 people who are my friends. And the first thing I look for is, does any profile not have a picture? If it doesn't have a picture, I'm getting rid of it. And again, I don't have interaction with a lot of these people. And so some people, sometimes the number is 5,000 and then I'll see 5 have dropped off and then it's back to 5,000 again. So people have the option to follow if they can't be a friend. So I think right now I have 8,200 people who are following something. So it's
okay.
Yes. But in terms of following back, I will definitely follow someone who comes on the platform. Somebody takes the time. I look at it as they're giving back. So if they're giving, they're putting in, I'm going to put into what it is that they're doing. If it's LinkedIn, and I found this, it seems to be more and more, Mariska, so many people on LinkedIn are blatantly selling something. They have no attempt made whatsoever to read the profile, to see if there's anything in common, if there's even what it is that I'm doing. They just start pitching things. And here's one that I got recently. Are you interested in an automated telephone system? No, I'm not. What would I be doing? I don't need an automated telephone system. So it's, from a sales perspective, because I was in sales for 28 years, probably more, you have to bring value to someone. And on LinkedIn, people are constantly pushing things like this long about themselves. I do this and I do. Hello, I don't care. You go over to unfocus, delete. And once someone starts doing that repetitively, then I just let them know, not interested. You can click that automated thing. But if somebody has taken the time to explore what it is I'm doing, whether it's this business or Dr. Jacalyn LLC, okay, then you've got my attention. I'm going to give you an audience.
I agree. I have found that on, not only LinkedIn, on any of the social media platforms, really. From time to time, you get these very weird and sometimes concerning emails that they send you, and they say, well, I am da-da-da-da-da, and would you like to, I don't know, start your own app? I've had quite a few of those lately. Do you want to start your own app? Well, not at the moment, really. Thank you very much for asking. If you went through my profile, you would have most probably known that that is not necessarily something that I'm interested in. But great, thanks for asking. Nonetheless, I will delete you. So yes, I'm also not a fan of that approach. And sometimes I wonder whether I should have a automatic reply to when I get something like that and say, hey, maybe if you want to get people to interact with you, try to build a relationship first. I'm not interested. Thank you very much. Bye-bye then. And hopefully they might get the hint at some point. I don't know. In saying that, I also know how tricky it can be to get people to notice, right? And preferably don't do it so that it feels creepy. Just a hint from somebody that's still trying to figure out how not to do that. So.
That's so true. Why are people doing things that are so uncomfortable that you wouldn't do in person? They're doing it hiding behind their social media platform. I mean, I don't know, maybe it works for somebody, but it's not going to work for us.
I have no idea. I don't know whether, do they even go and look at their numbers and really have a look at what the conversion rate is of the 5 million people that they spammed, right? How many did I get back? If it's 1%, is it really worth it? Is it worth your name and reputation to be doing that?
Exactly. I agree with you. I have a very recent example. I'm not going to see what platform it happened on. Somebody reached out to me a few days ago, and they wrote to me on this platform that they were interested in surveying me about something that I'm doing. And I actually am doing what it is that they want to survey about. And oh, by the way, they want to pay $100. So the first thing I'm thinking is, this is a scam. It's definitely a scam. And then I went to the person's background and I saw that they work for a research company. Now, it's not one of the big names that I know of, but okay, they've been there for a few years. So I thought, okay, it's possibly legitimate. So I wrote back, I might be interested. However, may I suggest that you book in for an interview on our business show so we can learn more about your business and your modeling, and you may be able to get many more people who are interested in doing this. And as such, I will be one of them. So the person doesn't write back anything about the counter offer that I presented to them. So they continue on, I think you would be great and we'll pay you the $100. So he's completely disregarded what I wrote. So I just stopped answering. So he continued writing more things, maybe 3 more things. So finally I wrote, may I ask for you to answer my original question? So he writes back, I don't know, what question did you ask? And then I just deleted him. I just deleted the message. I thought, I don't have time for this. It's obviously a scam. And by the way, there's so many scams out there that people fall into. It used to be just on the phone that somebody would call and say, you know, something happened. You've got X amount of time to, you know, we hijacked your computer or whatever it is, which happens all the time too. But on social media, it's just prolific now.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, I mean, this person might have had a very legitimate offer in saying, well, this is the research we are doing. We are offering to compensate you for the time that you take to go through this most probably very long survey. So thank you very much. And if you're not going to treat me as a human being, right? I'm not interested. I'm not interested. If you can't answer the question that I've asked you, and it sort of feels like it's going into an automated cycle, why the hell are we having this conversation? What's the point? Because I'm not getting it.
It's so true. And you know, in your work as a certified coach, that many times people will give a reason as to why they want to do something or why they don't want to do something. But when you start to dig deeper, they don't have any substance to support it. So that to me is similar as to what's going on these social media platforms. People feel they can just reach out. And by the way, there's fake profiles as well. Many military profiles are fake. I don't have any numbers on it, but so my point is, when you have limited time is a gift. why not use it to create a valuable relationship of substance? Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to like you. I love you. You know that. Probably everyone will like you and does like you. Not everyone's going to want to come to this platform, okay? And so we have to find out, is it a good fit? But in order to be a good fit, I need to understand, what is it that's motivating you, Mariska? What is the value that we can bring to you? Not, did you know we can do this? That, who cares? You don't care about that, do you?
It's the thing is, great, you can do all of these things. I don't even know whether I need all of those things. Right? It's a, it may be of value, it may not be of value. And honestly, if I was in the market for it, I would have gone looking for it. I would have said, hey, buddy, this is what I'm looking for. Yes, maybe one of your millions of emails might attract me if I'm in the market for it at that very point in time. If not, I'm most probably just going to delete it. That's just the way it works.
It's so true. It's so true. And here's the other thing that ties in with what I was just sharing, and I'd love to have your feedback on this, is we want everyone to like us. We want everyone to be interested in what it is that we're doing. We want to have a zillion clients, right? As a coach, I would love to have just back to back to back to back coaching clients. Okay. But at the same time, I'm doing this, I'm writing books, I'm singing. It's not possible. So we have to pick and choose the relationships that are that seem to fit together the best, because we can't be everything to everyone. Example, every time somebody comes here and does an interview, they get a survey. And the survey is basically, how did you feel about your experience here? Rate me, rate the co-host. Here's the way for you to book in for more shows. Here's where you can watch the shows. And here's some other services that we offer. So when I first started doing this survey, which was a genius idea from my nephew, it seemed to be a great way to bring people back to the platform and hopefully convert them to be a team member, right? That's bring more people on so we get bigger and bigger. So when I first started doing this, I was very upset that people were not answering the survey. And I would contact like 5, 6, hello, did you get the survey? Hello, here's the link to the survey. Could you answer the survey? And finally, I thought to myself, why am I being desperate chasing after someone? Ask them, did they get the survey? If they got it and they didn't answer, okay, they're not interested, or maybe they're not interested now. Move on to find people who are interested where you can bring value. How do you feel as a coach, Mariska, when you're with the business that you're running and the podcasts that you have outside of here, all the things that you're doing? Are you chasing after people? Or are you bringing value and being selective? I already know the answer, but tell us.
Well, for me, it is really about bringing value and then seeing what's a fit, right? Everything doesn't fit. And as you said, Dr. Jacalyn, it's sometimes it is a no and sometimes it is a not now, right? I take from my own experiences. There will be stuff that people will send me and I would literally ignore it, because it's a not now for me. It might be a not ever in this lifetime, because I might just not be interested in it at all. And they don't know about it because, well, it's going on in my own head. And I'm literally not going to take the time to reply to each and every soliciting email to say, hey, buddy, you're on the wrong track. I'm sorry. I don't have that much time in my life. And I'm not going to spend it replying to each and every person. That's not going to happen. So if I don't answer you, I'm not interested. When I do become interested, I will reach out, right? So one, for everybody else out there going, oh, this is so difficult to sell stuff. Well, that's most probably the reasoning that most people have. So I know it sucks. And I know that we have all these other things happen inside of us, where we have imposter syndrome and all the rest of the things happening. And put yourself in their shoes. What will you do if you got that email from yourself? What would your response be? Right? So that's one way of evaluating it. and bringing value. So for me, absolutely, Dr. Jacalyn, if it is something that I am bringing, so if I'm going to send an email, I will bring value in the sense of, okay, so we discussed this thing. I think this resource might be helpful for you. If it is the right time and place for us to continue our conversation, we do so. If not, hey, it was great meeting you. Until it becomes such a time and place for us to continue our conversation, then we do so. Right? That's the thing is, if we start to be needy, we get really creepy. Don't do that.
Needy, creepy. I love it.
Very.
And, you know, to expand upon what you said, because we did have that initial training certification together for the life and career coaching.
Mm-hmm.
When you're engaging with someone, if I was having a conversation with you, if we do a role play and I said, Mariska, here's what you need. You need to invest in this, this, and this for your business. And I guarantee you, because I've seen it over and over again, that your business is going to go from here to 10x, 100x. How are you going to feel? What are you going to think when I'm saying that to you?
Well, one, you don't know what's going on in my life. So maybe it will work. Maybe it won't. Right. And that's, I think, to a degree, that is where some people get caught. So we literally get caught in that trap of, oh yeah, see this little thing that I have, right? You can have it for just so little money, and following these 2 steps, ta-da, it's yours. It doesn't work that way. Guys, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it really doesn't work that way. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into anything it is that we want to make happen in this life. That's the way it works. Get used to it. There's no instant pudding for business. Doesn't exist.
Good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, literally. So do not expect, if you get instant pudding vibes, right? There's some problem. There's question marks that comes up. And if you didn't go to our previous segment where I was doing my talking heads around questions, this might be a good time to go and have a look at good questions to ask yourself. So yes, if you get instant pudding vibes, please, there's questions that you need to ask. There's something happening there that might not be as instant pudding-y as you think. So that's one of the things that's coming up for me when you say, well, you could do this by this, and then you 10x. And I need to understand a lot more about the whole process, right? So if you haven't even asked me anything about me and what's going on for me and how it works for me and where I am at, we will most probably end the conversation on a pleasant but not so happy note for you.
For you, I love that. And by the way, I'm just putting it out there that Mariska is the one who's going to trademark instant pudding. I love that. That is fabulous.
Instant pudding solutions. Yes.
Instant pudding vibes, if you're getting them. So I want to segue back to what we were just discussing, because it really does tie to social media. If I were to say to you, Mariska, I know we don't know each other, and I really would like to take the time to find out how I can provide value to you. Would it be okay with you if I shared a personal story?
I will be open to that.
Thank you. I remember when I was first starting my business and I had an opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. And as a result, I hired a consultant and we explored PDQ. And then we decided together that this would be the best thing for my business. And I'm seeing a lot of parallels between my business and your business. Have you ever considered hiring a consultant to do X, Y, Z?
I haven't actually. But that sounds interesting. How about we continue exploring it?
Bingo, there it is.
it feels a lot more relatable. It feels like you are interested in what I'm doing, how it works for me, right? And there is links that you have and experiences that you have that I think might be valuable for me. So we are entering into a conversation. I haven't bought anything yet, and I'm already getting value from what we're discussing. So it just makes a lot more sense.
And by the way, that is the gold nugget that you just dropped there, besides that instant pudding vibes. It is, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to bring you value. For all the people on social media out there that think they're going to be the one-hit wonder, good for you. I'm sure there's some people who are, but other people are going to be turned off. If they're professional people, they want you to bring value, not to sell them. We can all be sold any day of the week. Go on QVC or any of these things. Yeah, I'll take the jewelry. I'll take whatever it is. But we want relationships. So therefore, it takes a time and investment to get to know someone. So on social media, it's the same thing. Do we have access to people all over the world we never would have had access to? Yes, but we have one shot to bring value, and you can ruin your reputation without ever having a conversation by pushing things at people when they don't want them, when you haven't established, how does this go with this? How does this device, how's it going to help me? I need to know. And that's where you become a trusted advisor instead of an instant pudding salesperson. And nothing against those people selling the pudding. We love you. So.
And that is also, when we think about our product, right? Is it instant pudding? Literally, is it the cost of instant pudding? I mean, if I'm going to pay $2 for it, great, wonderful. I might buy 5 instant puddings and have it in my cupboard for the next, 6 months until I've ate all of them. But if it's not the price of instant pudding, the instant pudding approach will definitely not work. It doesn't make sense. We need relationships, especially when there's a significant price tag attached to whatever the thing is that we are thinking of buying.
Excellent point. And by the way, I have something to tag onto that, which is, let's say Susan is the instant pudding salesperson, and Susan has just really annoyed you because she keeps coming to you. You're like, I don't eat pudding. I don't eat sugar, but you need to try this. You need to try this because it's the latest and greatest, and it's only $1.50, and you can get 3 for whatever. And the knives, Ginsu knives, you get nail tips, you get whatever. By the way, these are my nails, they're not tips. Anyway, end of the story. Susan now leaves and goes to another company, and she's got your contact information because she called on you before. Now she's calling on you again, selling something else. And the first thing that happens is, hi, this is Susan. You may remember me. I was selling instant pudding. What comes up for you when you get that call?
How can I get out of it is most probably my first reaction, especially if we have not built a relationship. And that's why relationships are so super important. It's so interesting. I signed up for so it's a service for disadvantaged children here in New Zealand. And initially, when the guys came to our house, there was 2 people that came to the house, and they spoke a little bit around the cause and what was happening. So I signed up. Right, great, not a problem there. It felt like there was a connection. Now, a little bit earlier this year, they phoned me to find out whether I would be willing to donate a little bit more. And you know what put me off, really put me off about that phone call?
Let's hear it.
Was that it sounded scripted. And even though it was another human being on the other side of the phone call, it sounded like a robot. Literally, they were reading off the script. They were not interested in my answers. They were not interested in making a connection at all. It was literally, I need to read off the script because I need to get, I don't know, $1 a day extra from this person, right? It felt, when I finished that phone call, I felt yuck. Now that is the sort of feeling I'm associating with this company. And I really wanted to give to the company to start off with. So even when we have a decent, great relationship in the beginning, if we've put all that effort into it at the start, we need to make sure that we keep building on it and not destroy it. And if we made a mess initially, we can also fix that. But be human. Please, 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 please be human. Because the other person that you are working with is a human being with feelings and thinking of their own. And you being human with them will just make the whole process so much better.
It's so true. It's so true. And as we're coming to the end of our time, I really want to bring something into this. Back in, I'm going to say 2019, I had the pleasure of meeting Ashley Owens, who is like the queen of networking, in addition to our lovely Diane Floyd-Boehm here on our team. And she was my business coach. She had a show. I went on her show, et cetera. And she teaches people the art of networking. And the one key takeaway that I took away was that if you go to a networking event, for example, I remember way back in the day, you walk in, like I got a stack of cards here. You walk in, you go, hey, how's it? Here's a card. Take a card. You want a card? This is what I do. I sell this. Look at my wares. I got a briefcase. I got all my stuff here. Can I get you one in green and blue? That's how it used to be, right? And then maybe you'd see someone, oh, it's Bill Smith from XYZ. I've been, and Bill, you just Zach Bill. And he's like, what? Okay, all wrong. It's the same thing, same kind of approach on social media. So what I took away from it was that you find out how you can bring value. You talk to the person like a human being. Mariska, we're meeting for the first time. I'd love to know, what is it that you do? You might be thinking, I wonder why they're asking. But I have no expectations. I have nothing in my mind because I'm truly listening to what you're saying. I'm not going, she's not a good fit. You know, I'm not going to waste any time. There's Bob over there. Bob, I'll be right over. No, I'm listening to what you say because, to your point, you're a human. I'm a human, and I want to see how I can be of service to you. Maybe I can't be of service to you, but maybe your brothers, twins, friends, this years down the road, maybe you make an introduction because I was a kind human being, and eventually it comes back to us. But people are so intent on, like, I lift weights a lot, push, pull, you know, bench press, you push, lat pull down, pushing things at us, and nobody wants it. So focus on building relationships on social media as well as in person, and it will come back to you, I promise. Closing comments and thoughts from you about this and anything else you want to share.
What you just shared reminded me of a YouTube video. Haha, look at the power of social media. That I watched yesterday or the day before. And it was about influence. And one of the top pieces that I took from that video is when we want to have influence, which I know on social media, hey, everybody wants to be influencing everybody else, right? The best way to do this is by giving influence to others. And the way that we would do that is me going on my social media and saying, you know what? I don't know if you guys know about this brilliant person called Dr. Jacalyn, and she has a brilliant platform called USA Global TV. You really need to go and check it out. This is what they stand for. This is the cause. This is what they're doing in the world. And really taking that and putting it into giving that space to them. It's my voice, and I am helping that other person by letting other people know what they are about in the world. So I'm giving influence to that person. And by doing that, I inadvertently become more influential myself. So if nothing else, go out and see who else you can promote out there, and it will come back to you.
I love this. And I'm going to promote you because I have worked with you for years. You really helped me change my life. And again, 2 different countries, never met in person. I hope and pray that day will be coming because I'd love to go to New Zealand and see what things are like. But you worked through my health issues. How many times did you see me with eczema all over my face? I was freaking out like, I can be saved like this. And then wanting to leave corporate and being afraid to give up the paycheck. And we came up with plan A and plan B and had to go to plan C. You really know what you're doing. And not only that, but you took your coaching certification to another level. So I highly recommend that people reach out to you. I am giving you a recommendation on air. You are A+, and I want people to reach out to you. Go over to Mariska's LinkedIn, go to her website, journey, the number 2, discover.com, and you can also email her, Mariska, MARISKA, at journey2discover.com.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn.
You are so welcome. I wish you a beautiful Friday there as you're just starting your day and I'm winding my day down. So it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it has been a lot of fun. And you are having a short week. So I'm hoping that you are enjoying the rest of your tiny bit of a week that is left and all the family gatherings.
Absolutely. I sure am. So thanks to everyone who's watching or listening, whether it's live or on the replay. And as Mariska said in the beginning, please do come and join our platform. More and more people are coming because they have something to share and we support them. Go over to USA Global TV or USA Global TV and radio.com and go to book your session. We will be back tomorrow. Mariska, we will see you again next week.
Yes, you will indeed.
Thanks again. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Vanilla pudding vibes. Bye. Bye.